There's a three-horned chameleon that would look exactly like a Triceratops if you gave it enough time.
While wasting my life on YouTube, I came across a number of tall tales.
I mean, there's a bunch of little tiny ones, but a couple of great big ones.
I'm not sure if this is one of the little tiny ones or one of the great big ones, but let's go ahead and take a look at the context first.
I taught biology for years, and most people would quickly admit reptiles never stop growing. So in the pre-flood world, reptiles would get to be 70 feet long that today will only get to be 5 or 6 or 8 feet long. You know, what would a Komodo dragon look like if he could live, 900 years and get 80 feet long? Or any number of dinosaur-looking lizards that live today. There's a three-horned chameleon that would look exactly like a Triceratops if you gave it enough time. So the Christian view is Noah did take dinosaurs on the ark. After the flood, they either died out from climate change because they couldn't live long enough to reach reproductive age because something changed, or man killed them, calling them dragons. This is probably the most likely for many of them. And there are many thousands of stories of people killing dragons.
So we've got a number of doozies here. I'm not really sure if they're intentional.
This is probably the most likely for many of them.
Well, either way, let's just take a look and see if we can do some fact-checking.
And I taught biology for years, and most people would quickly admit reptiles never stop growing.
So I don't know if Kent Hovind thinks that just everyone has cats and dogs, but a lot of us keep other types of animals, and I, for one, have had a chameleon before, and that's not how they grow. They just get up to a certain size, and then they kind of stay there. So I looked around to see what I could find, and I found this guy's video, and take a look and see what you think.
Hi, this is Steven, the pet man for BigApplePetSupply.com. This one is a wonderful three-horned chameleon. So these guys make a wonderful pet. Now, they start off pretty small like most chameleons. They start off a little smaller than, say, a veiled chameleon because they only max out. Females usually max out at around 8 and males around 10 inches.
So what this guy is saying more or less lines up with my experience on chameleons. But what I'm getting from Kent here is that he thinks that chameleons are Triceratops. So I want to do some more comparison here and see if we think that chameleons are Triceratops.
In the pre-flood world, reptiles would get to be 70 feet long that today will only get to be 5 or 6 or 8 feet long. What would a Komodo dragon look like if he could live 900 years and get 80 feet long?
I think it would look something like a Komodo dragon, considering most of the time reptiles tend to look like the adults. The babies look like the adults. They kind of look the same throughout their whole life. There's usually some changes. They're not that dramatic. See, as you can see, it's not really like Pokemon. They don't really level up and completely change their shape. They kind of stay pretty consistent. The babies more or less seem to be miniature versions of the adults. Here we have a small juvenile Triceratops along with a subadult. In this photo we can see how the Triceratops changes as it gets older. The first image, labeled A, is a baby, and the image labeled E is considered an adult. To me, most importantly, the baby doesn't yet have any horns to speak of. And furthermore, the skull of the baby is actually about the size of an adult chameleon. I mean, the entire chameleon. In addition, the third horn on the Triceratops is a lot smaller and even turned in a bit of the different direction in some of the cases. Whereas on the chameleon, it's about the same size and pointed in the same forward direction. I think really what happened is he just counted 3 horns and said they must be the same animal. There are some similarities, but I think these are due to the fact that they're related, not to the fact that they're the same animal. Why is the largest chameleon so much smaller than the smallest Triceratops? Why is the mouth and the jaws completely different?
There's a three-horned chameleon that would look exactly like a Triceratops if you gave it enough time.
All right. You want to summarize anything there, like a few seconds, so we can move on?
Okay, yeah, the Christian position is very simple. Dinosaurs always lived with man. Noah took them on the ark. They've died off by climate change or by hunting,
Oh, so they're extinct.
or there may be a few stragglers still alive.
Oh, so they're alive, but hiding.
You know, Loch Ness Monster kind of stuff. I don't know, but there's certainly been an awful lot of sightings that seem to be something like that, like a dinosaur.
Well, it seems to me like maybe he's just making stuff up as he goes along.
That's correct.